Hi, it's Ginger Walker, and welcome to this episode of The Give Back. Today I'm joined by Andy McConnell, the Executive Director of the Fairy Godmother Project, which is located in downtown Fredericksburg. And I like to call it FGP for short.
I do too.
So welcome Andy. Thanks for chatting with me today.
Absolutely.
And so today actually is a special thing for me as far as an interview goes because Fairy Godmother Project is near and dear to my heart. And I've known Andy personally for
probably 10 years.
Yeah,
at
a
least.
long time
Mm-hmm.
Through husband's work-related things. And I've actually seen Fairy Godmother Project start from its inception and grow to where it is today. So this is a really special interview for me personally to share this with everybody and let everyone learn a little bit more about Fairy Godmother Project and what they do and the amazing contribution that they give to the local community here. So thank you for joining me, Andy.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's exciting.
So I'd like to start off with letting everybody know how Fairy Godmother Project actually came to be.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
So probably in 2002, it slowly goes back. I'm able to sort of see where it started even earlier than I realized. But in 2002, I had a little girl in my class whose brother had brain cancer. And I remember the frustration for me as a teacher not knowing what to do, and like trying to love her through that, but not really getting it. I didn't have kids of my own. I had really no sense of cancer because no one in my family's been impacted. And so I didn't know what to do. I just hoped I was doing the best I could. And then he passed away. And we had moved away to Phoenix, and down the street from us was a family whose child had survived cancer. And the mom spoke all the time about the impact it had on them as a family and how devastating it was because people showed up in the beginning and then disappeared. So they went through treatment for years, but they really were doing it alone. And, I always joke that like it would always come up over a glass of wine, it would always come up, but she really was impacted by that, and that people that they weren't anticipating would show up did. So then that was in, like 2004, 2005. Then we relocated back to Virginia, which is right around the time we met you.
Yep.
And then I have twins, and I was in a twin mom group, and one of the little girls in the group was diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer that at the time had about a 6 to 8% survival rate. And everyone in the twin mom group talked extensively about all the things they were going to do to help and everything, and I didn't know the mom. But I made a decision to reach out to her, and we became friends on Facebook, so it was official. And then I just started helping the family, and I did some fundraising, which I'd never done before, except in like elementary school and middle school. I was the fundraiser, and then I reached out to businesses I knew because I always come downtown, and my friends at J. Bryan's were doing a race, and they needed someone to be the beneficiary, and so they had the race benefit this family that year. And then in the fall, we did an event for them, and I believe that was the event that you attended at Amy's Cafe. Amy's always been a big supporter of Fairy Godmother Project, and she offered her space for this event. And so we raised money for this family. And by that time, the child was finished with treatment, and she had survived, which was amazing. And the mom said to me on the phone one day, would you be my girl's fairy godmother?
Oh.
So that's where the name stems from. And, I had a conversation with my now ex-husband, and I said, hey, I kind of feel like this is a thing. This is what maybe there's a need. So I surveyed families. I found different people that I could find who had had a child with cancer, and asked them just, questions about what their needs were that hadn't been met. And another sort of small world thing was this guy that I had waited tables with in the 90s. His son had passed away from cancer, and they had started a nonprofit in his memory. And when I surveyed everyone, what I found was everybody said the same thing. They needed more help. They needed more day-to-day support. It wasn't not that the trips and the things aren't wonderful, but they needed the day-to-day support so they could focus on their family. And our local community all travels for treatment because there's no treatment facility here for kids. And so there was these added expenses and time losses, and the kids were missing school and all of these things. And all the results, with the exception of one family said they were completely supported. They felt like they had everything they needed, but everybody else had said the same thing, And so I just sort of started to explore what that would look like to start a nonprofit. But everything I read said don't start a nonprofit, interestingly enough.
Why?
Because there's so many.
Right.
So, don't start your own, become part of another one. Figure out a way that your mission, what your goal is with whatever you want to develop, could work with another one, rather than, because there are so many. Even in our local community, there's so many choices to support, which is why we're always so thankful and honored when someone says it's us that they want to, And so we reached out to this, or I reached out to this man named Stan, and he and his family had started this organization called Journey for a Cure. So we met with them, Stephanie Johnson and I, who's our director of photography and my co-founder, and our plan had been to say, can we, become a program of yours? And instead they said to us, would you consider your idea becoming a program of ours? And so that's what we did. And it was super, it was so exciting, we got an article in the paper and all this stuff. And then then they said to us at the end of that year, it was 2011, they said, you know what, you have so much momentum, you need to do this yourself. Which was scary because we had donors locked in who were dependent on our, the tax write-off and all of those things.
Right.
But we moved forward, and people naysay a lot. I mean, it's just human nature, I think, sometimes. But, lots of feedback that it takes a long time to file, and it could take years before you get nonprofit status, and all that stuff is so scary. And so we filed what we needed to in January, the very end of January, and we got our nonprofit status in May. And I think the guy who worked at the IRS was probably like, this woman is a nut, because when he called me, I was like, oh my God, crying, carrying on, crying in the parking lot of where I picked up the mail, just everything. But
because you're passionate.
Yeah, and just seriously sat there boo-hooing, And then just we're official, and we just kind of got started, and we've just had a lot of success, I think, because it's grown really organically. So we started in the beginning, any volunteer, I always say kind of the suckers that I could find. My board was just all the people that I convinced.
Right.
You seem like you're nice. Would you like to be on my board?
Wait a minute, I was on the board.
No, you were there once we had moved forward. So I just got all of my girlfriends who were willing, and they cared about what I was doing, and then when I opened it up to the public, that's sort of where the organization shifted, I think, in a lot of ways. The founding board was amazing, and they had the passion and the heart, and they're all still involved, with the exception of a couple of people who have moved out of the area. But other than that, they're still active volunteers. So we just started with really supporting the parents. That's sort of what we're about, is the caregiver and the parent, with the idea that if they are better supported, they can then support their families better.
Right.
So we do things like house cleaning, lawn care. We help pay for gas and groceries. We make meals. And as time has gone on, we've added things. So in the beginning, that's what it was. It was Stephanie, me, and anyone else we could convince to go to someone's house and clean,
Right.
Right? We would joke about, our husbands were probably well, it'd be nice if they cleaned our houses. But no, they're cleaning random people's. And then the photography, too. So we've always done those things. And then as time has gone on, it's just we've kind of really looked into what the needs are. I think one of the things we do well is we listen to the families and what their needs are, rather than what we think they should be. So in the beginning, it was well, everybody gets this, and this. And then it was not every family wants that.
Right.
So now the families choose their services that work best for them through a point system. So it's they go shopping, essentially.
So basically, when a new family comes to you, they apply? Is that?
Yeah. So lots of times, what's happened over time, it's amazing to watch the evolution sort of the organization, because in the beginning, we would get families 6 months into their treatment, and we would have this, lovely opportunity to sit and talk with them because they were already in the group. And now, because people know about us, we get them usually within 24 to 48 hours of diagnosis. So they're not in a position to have us come to their home. So sometimes I don't even meet the families until they're finished with treatment, because they're just so busy. So they apply online, and then we work at the hospitals we have to have a confirmation of treatment, just to make sure that our donors' dollars are being used truly for what we say they're going to be.
Right.
And we have a really nice relationship with the hospitals, so they usually get us the response very quickly to confirming the child is in fact in treatment, and then we get started. We kind of pride ourselves on the fact that we usually we order the gift cards within 24 hours, and the families are officially part of the program.
So tell me, with all of the activities that you have going on, and all the services that you offer, obviously there's a lot of fundraising that goes behind that. So what are some of the bigger opportunities that our viewers can participate or join in to help support Fairy Godmother Project?
Well, every year we have 4 events that we always have year after year. There's always smaller events here or there that are wonderful and put on by different community partners. But our main ones are our golf tournament, which this year is May 17th at Lee's Hill. And that one is actually done. One of our families who had a child pass away in 2009, the family and friends put that on, and FGP is the beneficiary of it. It's called the Carter's Crusaders Golf Tournament. And then June 5th, the Community Foundation used to do the Giving Day, and when they stopped it, we made the decision to keep on going and doing it ourselves. So our Giving Day is June 5th, and we've had a great deal of success with that through the years, and hopeful that again this year we will. And that there's opportunities for all of these with sponsorships, obviously, and attendees, and then we have our event that's sort of the flagship event. That's September 13th, and it's our Stardust Ball. It's a formal event. It's a live silent auction. This year we're having it at the Silk Mill. And it has been sold out for the last 4 years, I believe, and I am anticipating the same again this year.
And it's a lot of fun. So if you have the opportunity to get tickets, it's a great opportunity for a beautiful night out and supporting an amazing cause. So.
It is so much fun, and that's one of the things we really try, is to make it fun, so that people will remember that piece of it. Well, they'll remember the hard parts, because usually there's a speaker that's, kind of...
Remember when she spoke.
When she spoke, really tugs at your heartstrings, but there's also fun. And then we also have the Josh Hardy event. So Josh Hardy passed away, and his mom, Josh loves superheroes and they love parties. So every year she does an event that benefits us. And everyone has to wear superhero costumes, and it's amazing. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people show up, and everybody, adults included, wear their superhero costumes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a wonderful feeling of remembrance for him. And it's so important for the families to have that feeling. And then, and that is in October. And this year it's at the YMCA.
So if people want to volunteer or get in touch, I know we mentioned the Facebook page.
Yeah.
But what's the best way for people to find you, or to volunteer, or if they want more information, or to make a donation?
Well,
where should they go?
Our website, fairygodmotherproject.org. And, at the top, get involved is probably what you would hit, and then it gives you options to donate, it gives you options to become a volunteer, it gives a pretty good overview of the different volunteer opportunities, and then also sponsorship opportunities. So depending on what, I think lots of times I hear people say things like, well, I don't have that much money, I only donated this much. But what I really wish people would understand is every bit matters, whether it's donating $10 or it's donating $10,000, or if it's giving an hour a month, or if it's being really engaged in the organization. We need every one of those people to be part of it.
So when I was on the board, and one thing that I always would say when I would be talking about Fairy Godmother Project is that the intent of the program is to be giving the family the gift of time. So, and that's really what...
Yes, it's exactly what it is. We had a mom actually say that one time, and that's where it came from. It was after her daughter had died. The little girl's name was Jordan, and we were standing outside talking, and she said, "You gave us time." And I was like, oh. And she said, because we didn't have to make meals. We didn't have to work late so that we could make up for the fact that we, had missed work. We didn't have to do all these things. Instead, we got to spend time with her.
Right.
And I remember I relayed that to someone, and then it became sort of our slogan of giving the gift of time. And we really do. And even with the second part of our programming, with supporting the families at the end of life, that's really why we're doing it, is so that they're not worrying about those little things, and they can just be focused on their child and have time with him or her.
Well, thank you for everything that you've done. And
Thank you for your involvement, and it makes a big difference.
Of course, it's near and dear to my heart, as you know. So.
I do, yeah.
But I appreciate your time, and
thank you.
If you want to get involved, please definitely look them up on Facebook or find them on their website as well.
Yes, please. Yeah,
Thank
you. Thank you.